For years, Jackie Christie acted like the type of woman reality TV loves to show off in front of the cameras. Passionately protective of her husband, loyal to the bone, and sharp-tongued when necessary, she remained at Doug Christie's side despite the never-ending gossip cycles. The whispered stories from sources, and the blogs that always managed to find a way to get attention. She would quickly silence the rumors that began to circulate concerning his loyalty. She would threaten them, do favors for producers, or stifle the discussion with a more glamorous topic if a site dared to publish a title that included his name and the word affair. She was beaming in public, sitting in the front row at his appearances with her hand on his arm. She was a human shield in private, quietly bleeding from the wounds that never reached the media while maintaining her family's good name. One thing about trust, though, is that when it breaks, it explodes, rather than gently alerting you. The day Jackie viewed that clip, it exploded. Even with her years of experience, she was unable to rescue the footage since it was so unpolished, raw, and impossible to edit. In what was clearly a hotel suite, Doug Christie and Malaysia Pargo were there. It was not a get-together. The meal wasn't cordial. There was no space for dispute because the video showed them up close, personal, and intimate. The type of footage where the picture delivered the whole story without the need for context or words. It went beyond simple infidelity. It was a declaration of war to Jackie. Furthermore, this wasn't from a random or anonymous stranger. Opportunistic, she had invited her into her circle, protected her on reunion couches, hugged her, and trusted her in places that were never meant for strangers. This was Malaysia. It burned differently. That betrayal. It was surgical and personal, slicing through all the ties of loyalty Jackie had cultivated in her marriage. She didn't cry. She didn't huddle up, sipping wine and melancholy music on the couch. Jackie sensed a warmer sensation, fury, the kind that roars instead of whispers. It's the kind that grows and doesn't go away quickly. And it carried her straight into the night that would become the most notorious in her life. It was going to be a glamorous night, a high-profile fashion event. The type where champagne is served non-stop, and the air feels electrified by camera flashes. Jackie showed there wearing a beautiful black gown that fit her like steel. Before she even approached the corner, her heels seemed to announce her presence by clicking against the marble floor of the Jackie Christie vs Malaysia Pargo. Celebrities, influencers, and those who feed on rumors yet appear astonished when it occurs in front of them were all in the audience. Then there she was. Malaysia Pargo smiling as if nothing could ever touch her, wearing a silver outfit that glistened in the light. The match was that smile. Jackie grabbed up the wine glass in front of her without any prior notice. As the glass sliced through the room, a red liquid captured the light in midair. It struck Malaysia's cheek with a burst off glass and liquid. Screams grew from gasps. Individuals took out their phones. The event came to a complete halt. Security did not move quickly enough. With her hands in Malaysia's hair and her voice spitting fire with each breath, Jackie was already lunging. In the rush, dresses ripped. The heel of someone snapped. A table moved over. The whole place seemed to be simultaneously gasping and holding its breath. Jackie yelled, "You slept with my husband," and smiled in my face, her voice breaking over the commotion. When security eventually succeeded in separating them, blood dripped from a cut on Malaysia's temple. "You think I won't burn this whole industry down?" Arrest of Jackie Christie. Jackie, however, was far from finished. Her body strained forward, her eyes fixed on her target as if she were willing to take on the entire building if it meant landing one more blow. Even as the cops pushed through the crowd, Jackie was in handcuffs in a matter of minutes. Cameras followed her every step as she was escorted away, her face still carved with rage. She appeared untouchable, even in handcuffs. A woman who has been wronged, a woman who isn't afraid to fight to the end. The video had already gone viral by the time she was booked. It was looped via Instagram stories. There were a dozen angles on Twitter. The headline was TMZ. At a fashion event, Jackie Christie erupts in a wine glass assault. Hashtags went viral. Jackie, played by Cher, responds. Red carpet retaliation on chalk. Chuck Malaysia's mess. And what the internet does best, it did. Divided into two opposing factions. Loyalty on fire was the term Team Jackie used, praising her for refusing to accept betrayal. Alongside the wineglass throw, they shared videos of her most brutal reunion moments, referring to it as her ultimate form. Others immediately denounced her as reckless, unprofessional, and a victim of domestic violence. Even those who didn't see the broadcast felt compelled to speak in on the contentious Malaysian response. Malaysia's crew, meanwhile, worked quickly. Inboxes received statements saying the attack was violent and unjustified, and that she was seeking medical help and looking into her legal options. Pictures began to circulate. Malaysia backstage, her face bruised, her dress torn at the strap. A paramedic wiping at her cheek. Jackie paced the bite during the night in a holding cell. Concrete flooring. She didn't get any sleep. She didn't cry. She repeated one phrase in a whisper. Malaysia, no. Mugshot was found when she was freed on bail the following morning. Circulation. Her attorney had ensured that. However, a statement was made. Jackie's statement, Christie suffers from public humiliation and emotional sabotage. She was driven to the brink by deliberate treachery, in addition to seeking responsibility for the incidents. She will fully cooperate with the investigation, whatever caused this incident. The wording was purposeful. Instead of portraying her as the aggressor, it showed her as the lady who, after being emotionally besieged, eventually lost it. And her fan following responded strongly to that story. This wasn't mindless brutality to them. This was a savage form of justice. However, Malaysia wasn't being quiet as well. Jackie uploaded a black square with white writing to her Instagram grid less than 24 hours following her release. Peace is what I chose. Even though I'm upset, I won't react hatefully. Support from her fans poured into the comments, but there were also queries that she failed to address. The twist then appeared. Screenshots appeared on gossip blogs 2 days later. Doug Christie's messages to Malaysia. Like a siren, one line stood out. It had no significance. I love my wife. You know that? The conversation was flipped by the leak. Malaysia didn't look like the other woman all of a sudden. She resembled the woman who had been cast aside, humiliated in public. And as if she were nothing, she was dismissed. It changed sympathy. A villain is popular on the internet. Doug had recently offered himself for the position. Throughout all of this, Doug's silence, Christie remained silent. Just silence, no statements, no interviews, no captions. And it was deafeningly quiet. Every rumor site had an idea by this point. For the sake of relevance, others claimed that Malaysia leaked the tape herself. Some insisted it was a producer manipulating the ratings. One whisper, though, was getting louder. That the whole event had been planned in advance. A preparation. If that was the case, Jackie's breakdown was planned rather than merely personal. On reality television, an engineered breakdown is the type of incident that has the power to permanently damage a person's reputation. Jackie had no intention of allowing that to occur in silence. Not when so much more remained to be discovered. Jackie's arrival downtown, Los Angeles felt like the set of a live-action soap opera the morning after the red carpet turmoil. Before the sun had dawned, news vans were idling outside the courthouse. Crews of cameras placed up along stairs, their eyes focused on the double doors, where the most talked-about dispute in the city will take place. The atmosphere within was so tense that a knife might pierce it. First to come was Jackie Christie, who emerged from a black SUV wearing a custom-made Crimson Power suit that might have been used as combat gear. There was a reason for the color. She had a perfect idea of how it would look on camera. She had a high chin, she walked steadily, her eyes obscured by huge sunglasses that did nothing to soften her demeanor. Her legal team followed her, including 2 shrewd-suited lawyers and a youthful aide who carried a bulky case file as if it held the nuclear codes. Arrival of Malaysia Pargo arrived a few minutes later. Large, fashionable sunglasses largely obscured her face, but a close look revealed a slight edema beneath her makeup, the mark of a bandaged area close to her hairline. Although her posture revealed strain, her cream-colored clothing conveyed peace. Like a security detail, her attorney stood on either side of her, occasionally putting a hand on her elbow to help her navigate the crowd of reporters yelling her name. Then Doug Christie, the man at the center of it all, arrived. He entered by himself. No lawful representation in plain sight, without a wife or ally. Just a man bearing the burden of a scandal large enough to wipe out 10 years of public esteem, 1,000 rumors, and the destruction of 2 women. As though realizing in silence the storm he had brought into this courtroom. Even the judge hesitated for a moment when he walked in. The evidence, the official reading of the charges, misdemeanor assault, and potential felony enhancement, because of physical injury as well as ongoing civil lawsuits for psychological trauma. However, the room didn't change because of the dry legalese. It served as proof. With a purposeful grin and a USB disk, Jackie's lawyer came forward. A recovered audio track that had been removed from Malaysia's phone, but taken from a backup, showed up on the courtroom screens. Within it, Malaysia chuckled with a man who had the uncanny sound of an industrial worker. The gathering erupted in gasps as she stated, "And I want her the second blow too. If Jackie finds out, she'll go nuclear." Her voice was brimming with laughter. Even the lawyer from Malaysia tensed up. Jackie was sitting perfectly motionless across the aisle. Her hands folded in her lap, her lips curving in the slightest trace of chagrin. The second blow was a screen capture purportedly obtained by subpoena from Doug's private folder. It displayed messages exchanged between him and a completely other woman. Not Jackie, a third player, nor Malaysia. Few questions were raised by the texts. Doug had gone beyond one boundary. He had sketched an entire map of treachery. There was anarchy. Journalists scrawled frantically. "Unbelievable," was mumbled by someone in the gallery loud enough to cause the babe to issue a warning. Malaysia's face flashed with alarm as her head moved abruptly toward Doug. This was new to her, whatever else she believed to be true. Then Doug Christie appeared in the center of it all. At first his voice was low, yet it reverberated around the silent room. "I made a mistake," he remarked. "Not only with Jackie, not only with Malaysia. For years I've been lying. I believed I could continue it all. I was mistaken." The confession did not clap. Nobody sympathized. There was no sense of redemption in the confession. The worst suspicions that people had been harboring since the tape leak seemed to be validated. Jackie's lawyer asked for a break. Cameras were everywhere in the hallway outside. The majority of people assumed Jackie would droop her head, ignore inquiries, or let her attorney speak. Rather, she halted in front of the microphones, took off her sunglasses, made a devastatingly honest statement that quickly spread throughout every gossip page. The internet on fire. "You can't steal what was already rotting. Malaysia didn't destroy my marriage. Doug did, but I let it rot. That's on me." For Jackie was more than just the angry wife the first time. She was the one who said that she had contributed to the cracks being unchecked. Ironically, it increased her risk in the court of public opinion while also making her more human. The next twist was revealed during the afternoon session of the prenuptial agreement. A prenuptial agreement hidden deep within Jackie's marriage. Contract was revealed by her legal team. Any extramarital affair resulting in financial loss or public embarrassment will trigger immediate forfeit of shared assets by the offending party. It was stated clearly. The words were devastating. Doug would lose almost everything he and Jackie had created, including residences, investments, and even his share in certain joint ventures if it were implemented. His voice cracked as he attempted to protest, but the judge cut him off. A sharp touch of a gavel. That may have been the end of the day, but Malaysia's lawyer wasn't done yet. With her client's hand firmly gripped in hers, she rose up and announced that they needed to make one last statement before the next hearing. The judge nodded slowly. At first, Malaysia's voice was tremulous. "I had no intention of falling for Doug. He was aware of his vulnerability. DNA test, but I kept the tape secret. Jackie wasn't someone I wanted to harm. All I wanted was to be important." She didn't break even though her eyes welled. Instead, she extracted a white envelope from her bag. She placed it on the bench in front of the judge, and every eye in the courtroom watched. "This is my unborn child's DNA test." "Child," she said. The room's air seemed to disappear. "The father is Doug Christie," she added. Time seemed to stop for a second. Jackie's pen fell out of her hand and clattered on the table. Doug's knees bowed as though the floor had shifted under him. "Malaysia," despite her hesitant voice, "I didn't plan this, but you deserve the truth." "And this is mine," he said in a whisper across the distance after locking eyes with Jackie. As the courthouse emptied, reporters started yelling to their crews outside. And by the time Jackie arrived at her car, TMZ had already done the damage. The wide-judge courtroom shock promptly ordered a secret hearing. And the public and media were hustled out. The headline, "Malaysia Pargo Pregnant," was ridiculed. After courtroom horror, Doug Christie verified his father. An hour later, Jackie's fall went viral. Helicopters hovered over her gated enclave. Paparazzi set up camp outside her driveway, and social media quickly circulated speculations. Was this the last straw, or the beginning of a more sinister trend? But no one saw Jackie. Not for 72 hours. In a city where scandal ages more quickly than milk, those 72 hours felt like 3 months. Every morning show panel, blogger, canned gossip vlogger conjectured about Jackie Christie's whereabouts and potential next move. And some of them cursed. The truth was sharper and quieter. Jackie wasn't hiding in shame. She was calculating. She understood something most people in a scandal never learn. The right silence is louder than any speech. Some said she had flown to another country to escape the chaos, while others said she was holed up in a luxury suite downtown, planning her revenge with a team of PR assassins. When she did make a reappearance, it was on a Sunday night, with no paparazzi alert or red carpet. Just a simple Instagram Live notification that Jackie Christie was going live. Tens of thousands of people flooded in within minutes. She was letting the headlines fight each other, letting the noise swirl until the exact moment she could step back into the center on her terms. The lighting was raw, revealing every shadow and angle of her face, but her eyes, those hadn't dimmed. "He gave Jackie Strikes Back a child," she said, her voice steady. "He was creating a legacy with someone while I was fighting to save a marriage." It was all black, not the sleek, tailored black of a red carpet villain, but the deep, unforgiving black of mourning. The comment section went crazy, with heart emojis, flame emojis, all caps, and statements of support. But Jackie wasn't there to receive praise. She reached down, raised a neat stack of papers into view, and held them there until everyone could see what they were, instead of screaming, throwing anything, or giving the tantrum everyone had been waiting for. She delivered something colder, harsher, and more definitive. "Let the world have Doug. These are divorce papers," she continued, "and it's over for real. I'm choosing me. I don't bleed for anyone who wouldn't bleed for me." She concluded the live stream without saying goodbye, without grinning, and without even allowing the barrage of comments to influence her. The screen went black, leaving everyone to replay her words in their minds. The video quickly went viral, with celebrities reposting it on their stories. Influencers analyzed each sentence as if it were a rap verse. And the hashtags changed, with Talk Jackie Walks Away and Fawaka Crown Unshaken replacing Jackie Strikes Back. Malaysia Pargo's reaction music. The following morning, Malaysia Pargo shared her own statement, but it was softer, with a warm-toned picture of a sonogram with the simple caption, "New beginnings, no shame, only the truth." She didn't call Jackie by name, she didn't bring up Doug, and she didn't defend herself. It was the sort of action that divided the people. Some interpreted it as deflection, while others saw it as grace. Doug Christie, meantime, felt it was time to share his perspective. He reserved a seat at the Breakfast Club with the intention of charming his way through the dialogue. However, there was an immediate outcry after the interview appeared on YouTube. It became a firing squad in the comments section. "Doug, it's too late for your truth. You demand pity after humiliating 2 ladies. This redemption tour isn't being taken seriously. The story was revealed by the numbers. Overnight, sponsorship agreements vanished. Once a reliable source of income, his show was shut down when sponsors stopped supporting it. Schedules for public appearances were cut. One tweet read, "Doug used to be the guy we all respected. Now he's just a cautionary tale." Even former NBA teammates started to unfollow him in silence. Jackie Christie's comeback Jackie moved precisely while Doug fumbled. She landed a $2 million memoir deal in a matter of weeks. Just the title went viral. The Promise, the Jackie Christie story, is a visceral story of love, lies, and how to get back up after the world tries to bury you. It was built from broken. Even before the first chapter was published, pre-orders were soaring. Malaysia wasn't dormant either. A successful six-figure collaboration with a parenting brand targeted to single mothers was secured by her team. She embraced her new identity in public, quiet, personal, and getting ready to become a mother. She stopped posting as much. Prenatal check-ins, motivational sayings, and nutritious meals. Whether the crowd couldn't decide if it was really healing or just good publicity. They watched Jackie Christie's defining moment, though. Jackie's return was marked by a women's empowerment banquet that she organized herself. It was her first significant public appearance since the court announcement of her pregnancy. She also made a conscious decision. She was dressed in the same red outfit that she had worn to court. With as pristine and well-tailored as a battle flag brought back from combat. The room exploded when she took the stage. Before speaking, she gave the applause time to settle and crest. "Pain reveals truth," she added, looking around the gathering. "I learned something. And in all honesty, it's never lovely, but it will release you. Understanding when to go and when to rebuild is another aspect of true freedom." Everyone in the room understood precisely who and what she was talking about, even though she didn't weep or provide names. By that point, Doug had completely withdrawn from public life. And weeks later, he was photographed checking himself into a private rehabilitation center. Unofficially, insiders claimed he was broke, blacklisted, and sleeping in an apartment that was rented by a cousin. The official word was emotional damage and treatment for addictive behaviors. "He's lost everything," a person close to him told a gossip blog. Perhaps it was what he needed to develop his wife, his money, and his respect. For Jackie, it doesn't matter if he grows or not. For him, she has finished bleeding. She is untouchable, lighter, and sharper. Malaysia also makes progress, with the new life developing inside of her, not with the guy she had believed would select her. A future that is no longer determined by Doug, but is inextricably linked to him. She chooses peace over pandemonium and publishes infrequently. Her captions are brief, yet packed with meaning. Power comes from peace. One man was reduced to ashes between two ladies and two roads. A reckoning followed what started out as a scandal. And if the world learned anything from seeing it happen, it's this: never betray a woman who has supported you during difficult times. Because she doesn't simply walk away after discovering the truth. She reconstructs. Still, it's unclear if this is the end or merely the quiet before a storm. Nothing remains silent in the realm of public atonement, loyalty, and treachery. The cameras continue to roll. The gossip never stops. And there's always a microphone for the truth.